Yeah. You have another. Now, this leads us to another let's say segment, which is, should you build solo or should you build on a platform? Now in the region for B2B sales, let's say there's kind of or workaround that they're doing. All right, so you're a small startup. Why don't you build a solution on top of our business that we can sell to our customers? So what that means is, like, you have Oracle. All right, why don't you build a feature, something, a small app on our Oracle system that we can promote to our Oracle customers? So now you have access to these customers as a small startup. Same thing is happening, Oracle, Microsoft, SAP, and you have, let's say, the ISPs, the main ISPs here, and telephone service providers like STC, Mobile, Zain. So they're providing a platform, and I've been even, STC even reached out to me. They said, okay, Ismail, what are you doing? They got to know about our business. And then they said, okay, we'll see how we can collaborate. So let's say they'll say that, SEC will say that, okay, we have enterprise asset management solutions. And when they sign a deal, they bring us in to implement, and they get a cut out of it. So that may be, now this is on a large scale. A lower scale, you see, when we're talking about platform, is like you're building an Android application.
Correct. Yeah.
You're building an app on the App Store, Apple App Store. So you'll see, let's say you're utilizing this platform to build your business. And for example,
you're building your success on the success of the platform. You're building on what you know about that. Yeah.
That's it's an avenue, it's a channel open for startups. I believe this channel is open for startups to grow. It's a way for them to grow. For example, I know a company. They were in Turkey. They were Syrian entrepreneurs. They built games on the App Store. They sold in 2017, I think, around $270,000. They made $270,000 in business in 2017 building a game on the App Store. If they didn't have an App Store, then they don't have a business.
Yeah, so the pros and cons, obviously, if you build solo, and there's always a value for building solo. So if you go and look at Indiegogo and forgot the other one, the other funding site, so you can go and find your GoFundMe or something like that. Whoever is building a mechanical hardware or physical component and they're selling it, once it's off the production line, you get all the 100% revenue. Of course, there are bills to pay, but you've been getting 100% of that revenue for yourself. Once you go on over a platform, the pro is you're getting all the benefits that come with the platform, all the penetration of the platform in the market, all the nodes, the APIs, the services, whatever, right, that comes with it. But then you have to pay
gatekeeper. You have to pay a commission to the
gatekeeper. Licensing and commission to deploy it, and it varies, right? So you have your Apple percentage in the App Store versus the Google versus the others, right? So you're mentioning Oracle or SAP or even like Microsoft in their back end on their own service. So you've got Jira Atlassian, which is the software development tool chain, but it's a platform software development tool chain. So there's a lot of apps that go in that app store. Even something as like conferencing call like Zoom has its own marketplace, and you can deploy apps on top of the Zoom conferencing platform to facilitate specific features, or maybe do data gathering, or whatever service you're looking to do in that sphere. It is a very powerful model. Definitely has a lot of pros for it, and there are cons, but there are pros for it, especially for startups. And I think the key thing here is it's a mutual relation. So a big corporate would need the ecosystem or the environment that goes with it. So they need the community of developers to deploy on a platform, or else the platform becomes irrelevant. And you can see examples of platforms that were built as like products built on the platform in hopes of people picking it up, and it never went anywhere. So Amazon had their phone, if you remember, and that failed, flopped. Microsoft pushed their Windows mobile platform for ages, and it didn't go anywhere because they didn't have the community. So the community component is a crucial here. Why is Android successful, right? Because of the community.
Yeah,
Why is
it's a disaster, technological disaster.
Yeah.
I lived through the Windows mobile.
The Windows, yeah.
It's a disaster compared to the Linux counterparts or Android.
Yeah, so there is merits to it, and I think even to believe, I believe even the small ideas that start as a solo, they morph somehow to become a platform. So an example would be Snapchat. So Snapchat was just a simple app that is now more or less trying to build a platform, enabling variety of apps that go on top of Snapchat as a platform to promote other services, other apps, what have you, right? Or else they cannot compete with a large social media platform like Facebook and its subsidiary products, right? So it has a lot of merit, and it has the penetration, especially if we're talking about mobile business, like the example you mentioned, like Android. You start getting to how many Android users are in the whole Arab world, right?
Yeah,
a lot, right? They probably most of them are Android users there, but I don't have the number. But I'm just throwing out.
The author, I think Christopher, the author of Startup Rising, which he talks about the Arab region. He says the future is in three trends. Let's say three trends, which is social, mobile, and solar. So one of them is mobile, because everyone here has a smartphone. Everyone in the world now has a smartphone.
Yeah.
In Africa, you have people who have smartphones before they even see computers.
Actually, I think you're going to start seeing people. The computer business is becoming more niche. Like people who own a computer is is no longer the rule. Is the exception.
Is the exception. Yeah.
And having a phone or some form of a tablet is common now.
And you have like Google. They're moving their search technologies are mobile first now. So they're prioritizing sites and their search engine based on their mobile, let's say, presence, or their mobile sites first, before those that are on desktops. So mobile is definitely the future. Now, what the problem is mobile is saturation.
Again, it's very saturated indeed. Yeah, indeed.
So you have thousands and I don't know, now hundreds of thousands, maybe of millions of apps that are on the mobile. There's so many apps that you can install on your mobile. And of course, the short lifetime, I believe, of the app. So
there's it lives or die. There's a period where it crosses the threshold. It's no longer going to be viable.
And I think it's like 90% of apps being used are the top 5 or 6 apps. WhatsApp, I don't know, Google services, and social media apps, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever. These are the top things. Then you have 10%, which is the rest of the apps, which are these you have. I think the largest portion of it is the gaming apps. So games.
Yeah.
So you're talking about, let's say, you're in the 2 or 3% of the whole mobile space, and you think, I believe, like you have hundreds of thousands of apps just competing on this 2%, and games competing on the 3%, and then the rest is the top 10. And it's as we say, it's a long tail distribution. So you have, the top 10 apps are the winners, and then you have the tail going down to the end. You have hundreds of thousands of apps, doing, I don't know, a couple of downloads, hundreds of downloads, whatever. I'm being utilized.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're seeing this kind of democratization of apps, and the problem with democratization is that as the market becomes more competitive, you'll have more people into the market, more people, let's say, getting revenues or profits, but everyone's threshold goes down. What that means is that everyone's revenue goes down exponentially. Let's say I'm making 100,000 a year out of this. Now I have 10 competitors with me. Every competitor is making now 10,000. Okay, so many new entrants are making money, but they're making less money than what I used to do before. Unless someone comes in with a new business model, something which is innovative. Sometimes they just need to be lucky. Like I think this, there was an app, the Flappy Wings. I don't know what
Flappy Bird,
yeah, Flappy Bird, whatever. They show. I read an article that says like this Flappy Bird game. There was a game that was like I think a year before that had a turtle, a Flappy Turtle, I think, or something. So it was the exact same game, and one flopped, and one like succeeded like hell. And they asked the founder, why did your game, succeed? What's your secret sauce? He said, I don't know. I just got lucky. So you don't know sometimes when your business might succeed. I say you have to grow a lot of seeds, to plant a lot of seeds.
Oh, absolutely,
yeah. Which one might sprout to?
If you do a simple search on any successful game on phones, and especially on the mobile front, you'll see the same company. So you just need to go and look at the company profile, and they list all the games they published. Chances are one of them you'll know, which is the hit, and the others you wouldn't know any of them, right? So I think Rovio, like the one that did Angry Birds. So I forgot how many, like 10 or 20 games before Angry Birds that were entirely not even, you never heard of them until they made a hit with Angry Birds, and they just took off, right? So
they were close to bankruptcy. They were close to closing down, and they said, okay, let's do this and see how it goes. And suddenly they're doing movies now, and they're famous.
They're doing movies. They're producing movies, and games and all sorts of things between them. No, it's but again, I think especially on the mobile side, it's extremely well-known business. You start looking into industries that are about to be disrupted, and that is where the next frontier potentially, and at least that's what things are pointing towards. So stuff like in the home entertainment business. So when you have like a penetration of smart OSs, mix it with old technology, maybe there you'll start seeing something happening. The fridges, the TVs, the car, and so on and so forth in that area. So that would be your mobility plus something else.
So if I want to build a startup, should I build it on Google Home or Amazon Echo?
Good question. That's something maybe our viewers can comment on. I hope whoever take a look at this video, you can give us ideas. Should it be on Amazon ecosystem or should it be Google ecosystem? I don't know. Good question. Yeah.
There are now there's a lot of platforms. I believe, let's say in the Arab world, there's a proliferation of all these global platforms. Engineers or developers or students, they can make a living out of. But the real question is, to what level can they reach? Can it become a viable business? Okay, I can have a profile on Upwork. I can do some app on Amazon. I can do some mobile apps, for example, on the App Store, and so on. And I can get a living, maybe $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 per month. I'm living happy here in the Middle East. based on that salary. But is it a business? Is it a startup? You know, and when do we consider when do we consider a startup a business successful? When
it sounds like more of a freelancer kind of.
Yeah, a freelancer.
Yeah.
So a freelancer is just a mini startup.
Yeah.
Micro startup, something like that. So then you have like, okay, we go a bit level higher to a small startup, then to a business maybe, and then so on and so forth. But when do we call a startup successful? When it reaches $1 million in sales, $10 million in sales, $100 million in sales. So, and it's and the first
question,
funded, and if it's VC funded, no one can. No, not no one, but they don't emphasize revenue profitability between brackets. They emphasize revenues. So get as many customers as you can get. Then we can sell it off to some Amazon, some Microsoft, some whatever big name in the world, and we cash in on the profits. So that's another question. Maybe we should tackle.
Oh, I mean, that is one measure of success. Definitely, there's variety of examples that I'm sure both of us, I know few, and I'm sure you know some, that a startup reached a point where it was acquired by a bigger entity and became part of the bigger system. The other would be that a startup had made to a point where it's a maybe a household name is not the right word, but close to be a household, like a well-known name. But again, that's not necessarily the only two criteria, right? There's others as well, other examples. So something like his financial targets to be hit. But the key here, I think, is if it has a path forward beyond the initial success. So you can have your short-term success, but then it hits a dead wall and dead end and just stops.
And so, for example, what happened with Maktub? Yahoo.
Yeah.
What Maktub?
Exactly.
Became nothing. So they. And
Yahoo became pretty much
destroyed the innovation that happened with Maktub. The same thing.
Yeah, or an example of a company that almost died and it was innovative. Netflix, right? So Netflix started as competitor to Blockbuster on a cheap end. So it was mail in. They would mail you the DVD or Blu-ray later to watch.
During that period.
Yeah, so you can subscribe to it, and they would mail it to you. And to some extent, I think a year or two ago, it still was going. I don't know if they canceled that. And it kept competing to the point where, but they were hitting a wall. Like there was no future until they pivoted and they switched to entire streaming model. And right now, a couple days ago, I heard they added 18 million new subscribers or something like that, or 16 million new subscribers just over the last month or two. So till the point they made the pivot, there was no future for them. They were dying. They were dead. Because sales of or rental service of DVDs was just going away. People are not using DVD players, and they just want something else. So that was a very smart switch from one model to the other. And now they are a household name. Of course, you mentioned Netflix. Everybody knows what Netflix is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the end, as we said in the beginning, that it's market driven. So you need to see what the market wants. If there is demand, if there is pull for your product, then you will see success. I think, I remember someone said that the amount of success that you should expect depends on the number of lives that you affect. So the larger your audience, the larger your customer base, the larger your success is going to be. Definitely. Yani the type of business that, let's say, okay, I'm going to do an iPod and I'm going to throw it in the market. No one did it before, and I'll teach the market, what the new thing is. This definitely not work for us. Maybe it may work for a huge company like Apple, like Netflix, like whatever, but it will not work for.
Yeah. Well, it sounds to me you're describing a user-based design. So knowing your user, your pool of the market that you're tapping, what is the segment and the exact behavior?
Do they have the money? Number one, do they have the money to pay you? Do they have the expertise to use your technology? Do they are
the
they
need
satisfied with what is available? They don't want, because Arabs usually, the Arab culture, they're cautious. It's not like in the US where you see people, they're excited to try out something new.
To try something new, yeah. More open.
Kind of a cultural thing that we're a bit cautious. We don't know. We don't want to spend money when we don't know what the return is. So, for example, I had a friend. He was telling me, "All right, let's do a SaaS business here in the Arab world. It's going to be great, and everyone's going to flock to subscribe and whatever." And it was in a B2B sector. I said B2B SaaS business is a flop in the region. Nobody. I told him our solution. For example, our solution is a cloud solution. Is a cloud first solution. And we as a company, we are trying to push our cloud solution to the customers because we want to have a recurring revenue instead of a one-time sale. But no business now would accept that. And I'm not talking about small business owners or not. I'm talking about the top 50 companies in the GCC. We're talking to them. Number one, they're saying, why should I pay? Why should I? They have a saying is, why should I be under your thumb? Under your control. In any situation, you can pull the plug. If I don't pay you, you pull the plug. So I want a one-time solution. I don't want to be under the influence of anyone else. So they want one-time solution on-premise. They want their data in-house. Of course, these requirements, I'm talking about the top tier companies. So that market, that segment is closed off to all SaaS applications or SaaS solutions.
Yeah.
So that's each market has different mentality, different culture, and so on. We cannot just expect something that works in the US to work here in the Arab region.
Yeah.
In the end, people will get used to subscriptions once they are forced by the big names to pivot to subscriptions. For example, now Microsoft is pivoting all its software to subscription based.
Correct. Yeah. They're no longer.
Once all the players they're used to it. Now it's only consumers that are starting to get used to. Let's say, well, okay, I have a Netflix subscription.
Yeah. You're starting to understand the model behind it. And it's a subscription for a service. You're not just subscribing to keep it more like. It depends on the exact product, but most of them are a service. So you're getting a service for the money you're paying, for the upfront investment in it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. With that, thank you.
Comment below, please.
Yeah.
So
comment and subscribe.
So comment. I like to do like the other YouTubers. So comment, smash the like button, and subscribe. I don't know
and then
platform you are seeing us in. If you're in LinkedIn, so comment below. In YouTube, in YouTube you have to smash the like button and subscribe. I like to
hit
say
that bell.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
hit the bell and
share it with your friends so that others can come and see our casual talks, casual discussions. about the startup landscape in the Middle East and how it contrasts to West and generally the US. We're going to bring some guests from here and from the US, from Europe, also to join us. So stay tuned. Hopefully, inshallah, we're going to do it on a daily basis. I don't know how Mohammed's schedule is going to look like.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. All
But,
right. So we'll try to post
Ramadan, and we're gonna.
We'll try to post consistently throughout Ramadan on a daily basis, hopefully. So expect us every day at the same time. All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Very good. Cheers.
Take care.
Bye. Bye.